think they're kind of just giving it to her throughout the day today, so.
Okay, and she got it.
I forgot it. I remembered it before I got up, but I never, didn't even come to me with the,
Are we good then, Dee?
yes.
Oh, hello. Oh, good. It's on and it's hot. The microphone is up nice and loud today. They should be loose. If not, you could probably just pull the table to you. So, all right. Good morning. Happy Mother's Day. I'm Kyla Jackson for those watching. For those in here, good morning. And I hope you ladies have a happy Mother's Day today. So far, it is going wonderful. So hopefully it'll stay that way. It is nice weather. Woo! I was hoping and praying it would be nice weather today. So it's not going to be as hot as it has been the last couple days, but we'll make it work. All righty. Now let's see if it's working this morning. Okay. Well, as you know, today we had our Mother's Day morning breakfast at 9 a.m., then today at 10 and Sunday school, and then we have our 11 a.m. service. There will not be an evening service tonight because we moved that to the 9 a.m. time. So I'm glad you all were able to make it today, but next Sunday, I cannot believe it's already like really here, is our car show for Christ. And it is, I think that's a typo. I think we figured out that last week, so it's at 5. So the people who did that need to make sure that they double check that and correct it. That would be me. So it's at 5, so ignore the 6:30 time on the screen, but it is 5 o'clock next Sunday. Come, bring a friend. It'll be awesome, okay? And I'm going to tell you this, and Dee will correct me if I'm wrong, but that meat Pastor's talking about is the juiciest meat you will ever taste. And it has the best flavor you'll ever taste. Just
What is it?
pork, smoked pork. And it's going to be delicious. Your minds will be blown, but you don't need to take my word for it until you actually try it. Now, if you don't eat pork, understandable, but still, it's super good. And just the smell of it will make your mouth water. And the guy who's doing it is a really nice guy. He's my previous volleyball coach's husband, and he's a real nice guy, really personable. Dee met him, and I think Judy met him as well. But he's just a really nice guy. But bring a friend, bring family out. It'll be a great time. If the weather's nice, we could probably have about 300 people here or more. If it's not so nice weather, it won't be that many people. But surprise, we've had a lot of people when it was rainy and overcast. So we're just praying that we have nice weather that day and that the rain will just stay away until after the car show is done. But I think everybody will have a great time and it'll be fun. Okay, as you know, we've been talking about the Heart of Solomon. Does anybody need a book to follow along with, since if they didn't bring one? Now, if you would like one, they're $8. They're $8 for the book. If you don't want one, you could just borrow it. And Judy Dolores would like to borrow one too. And Lisa. So here we go. 2 more. Here we go. All right. So, but if you would like to get one and purchase one, it's $8. If you're like, oh, I don't have the money, then we can help you out with that, okay? So, we've been talking a lot about wisdom and how Solomon asked for wisdom at such a young age. And it doesn't matter how old we are, we all need wisdom. We all need that in our life, whether we're a mom or not, whether we're a grandma or not. We need to make sure that we ask God every day for the wisdom that He gives us, because There's a lot of things in this life that we need wisdom for. Not just the small things, but for the big things. And I know Susan, I don't know if she'll mind if I say this, but she had been praying and working very hard at trying to find a more reliable vehicle. And she got wisdom from people, and she prayed about it, and because she wanted to ask God for that wisdom to be able to have a car that she could get from church to home to work or to the store or whatever. Aww. You're right. That was very sweet. Thank you, Sarah. Let's see. Your page in your book is page 12. I had to make sure. I was on the right page here. So page 12. So no matter what, but the Lord, back to what I was saying, but with all of that wisdom and advice that Susan's been asking people for, or all the wisdom that she was asking God for in this, God blessed her with a vehicle. So it pays to pray. It's not just a sentence. It's an actual song somebody wrote. And it does pay to pray. It may take forever to get that prayer answered, right, Susan? We're all sitting there, I wish God would answer it sooner than later. I'm afraid I won't be able to go to church or to the store, But with God, all things are possible. But we have to be willing to accept that. And it's hard. You or a family member might be going through some health problems right now that you're just unaware of what to do with it. But you know what, Lisa, if we put our trust in God and our faith in God and ask God every day for wisdom and guidance on what to do, God will see us through it no matter what the situation is. And you know what, I don't know if you ladies are like me, but if I have to go and I get the news like this, and this, I'm like, okay. So I can either scream and cry, or I can hold it in and then blow up later when I get home, or I can think the worst. And how many of us think the worst when we don't hear all the stuff or don't get all the test results back? And you're like, okay, it's not this, okay. And then we try and look it up online through Mayo Clinic or all these other medical thingies. And then we get more scared because we're reading all of the really bad stuff. And you're like, oh my, I don't know what else I'm going to do. I could sit here and feel sorry for myself, or I can be like, no, Lord, I'm giving it to you because that's all that matters. As long as I give it to God, He will see me through it. And ladies, I didn't have a huge scare, but I had what am I going to do? And so I'm getting solutions, and I've already talked to Judy about it, but I'm getting solutions. I'm getting things taken care of. And so it's like my doctor told me when I'm looking up this one information about some stuff, she said, look it up on Mayo Clinic's website because they'll be more direct. They'll give you the really good part that would help you, where all these other websites will and Harmony's sitting there because she's one of these people who researches, and I love her for that. And I'm sitting there thinking, I'm like, okay, I would just look it up online, Laura. Yeah. But she's like, no, do Mayo Clinic and do John Hopkins research. Look it up on there because they will tell you exactly. Yes, ma'am.
Another one's Cleveland Clinic.
Cleveland. Okay. So we looked it up, and she's like, don't look up all these other websites because they will give you the scariest situations. I'm like, okay. So my husband helps me look it up, all these stuff. I'm like, okay, that doesn't seem too bad. Okay. All right. But now I'm praying. I talked to my mom. I talked to Judy. I talked to my father-in-law, my husband. Those are the 4 people I really talk to. And then I talk to the Lord. But even before that, I talked to the Lord before I talked to the other three, because I'm like, because Joe was there with me and hear all of this stuff, and we're already praying with it. And I feel at peace. Obviously I'm still going to pray about it because my appointment, my consultation isn't until the 15th of June. But still, it's going to come fast, Sarah, and I want to make sure I'm set and ready to go. To the doctor. You're like, where am I going? I wish I could say I'm going to like Cancun or something like that, but no. But we have to make sure that we ask God for wisdom and guidance to be able to see us through it. And honestly, for all my stuff, it's nothing compared to what other people are going through. But to me, it's scary, okay? And it's not necessarily, it's more like, okay, am I going to make the right decision? But you know what, Laura, if God's in my corner and I ask God for that wisdom, he'll give me the peace that passes all the understanding. So I'll be like, okay, I'm good with that. And if you want to know more, I'll tell you more, but not on live stream. So, but there was concerns there for my health last March. I think it was, Judy, I think it was last March. I was having real scary stuff happening, and I'm like, I don't know what to do. But I asked God for wisdom, and I talked to my counselors about it, and they told me to do this, and that. I'm like, okay. And I did that for a year, and then I had to go back and talk to somebody else, talk to the doctor. But anyway, I asked God for wisdom, and I got wisdom and advice from other people. And I had wise people pray for me. Janice Arnold was one of them. And bless her heart, she is now up there, healthy and happy, and with her husband and with Wendy. So, but like Solomon, he needed wisdom. Yes, ma'am.
I hope you help me, okay, first. I, like 2 years ago, I got dementia.
Mm-hmm.
The rest of them never walked again. I was working, I'm overtime, customer service, 6 years, mother, single mom for 5 kids. Years ago, the doctor told me, Sarah, I have diabetes. You never walk again.
Mm-hmm.
Your spine die. Somehow, he gave me a much medication. I pray for God.
Mm-hmm.
He need me, take you with the kids, take care of my kids. Because I
Yep.
don't have any family here.
Mm-hmm.
I wake up in the morning, I move.
Amen.
I moved. My house is right. I called my mom. I told Mom, I'm set up. I was like a baby for days. Whenever
Wow.
I can move my hands, do nothing. Like a baby, just boring.
Wow.
2 years in surgery. And right now, I really thank God about this. My milk, like a magic for me.
Yep. God can do wonderful things
Yep.
when we put our trust in him. If you couldn't hear that, she couldn't walk for a while. And she prayed and asked God to give her the strength she needs, because she had 5 babies that she was looking at. I mean, probably grown, but to her, still babies. She had 5 babies she had to take care of. She had to take care of herself. So she asked God, and she goes, God, if you want me here, please heal me. And God healed her, and she's walking today. And guess what? Her and her daughter Mary and her son Vladimir are getting baptized today. So that's a blessing. And those added to the church, like we talked about. And she's only been here at our church since Easter, right, Sarah? So you know what? God can do anything, because God never fails. Okay? But I got to get going, because lollygagging here, talking, which is fine. It's good talk. But I got to go over this and then get done so Miss Susan can come up and practice with the kiddos that are singing in the next service. But in 1 Kings 1, verse 11 through 34, if you don't have your Bibles, it's up on the screen. It says, and he had 700 wives, princesses and 300 concubines. Now, I'm not saying he is the best, with marriage, okay? But God gave him wisdom, and his wives turned away his heart. For it came to pass when Solomon was old that his wives turned away his heart after other gods. And his heart was not perfect with the Lord his God, as was the heart of David his father. Probably not. Maybe a list, but I would get confused on. Anyway, I get confused enough with my children, let alone, having that many. Just saying. But God gave him wisdom to, but anyway. No, you're fine. So your first blanks are, the wives of Solomon negatively influenced his heart. The wives of Solomon negatively influenced his heart. Although Solomon possessed great wisdom, he contemplated his life greatly. His habit of collecting wives and concubines became a consuming passion that eventually turned his heart away from the Lord. Gradually, Solomon was drifting away from godly living and turning to a life of lust. Oh, that's what it means in the scriptures when it talks about, in that last verse, about was the heart, rewind, play, as was the heart of David his father. Oh wait, didn't David lust after somebody else's wife? Oh, so as Pastor Joe was saying in the back, birds of a feather flock together? Yes. So just like David, Solomon took after his father. He lusted. It was like trophies. All these wives and concubines and princesses or whatever, it was like trophies. I mean, I never had trophies in high school. I mean, as a team, we got trophies for sports and stuff, but we never got to keep them. I mean, the only things I have are like ribbons for science fairs or a fireman poster picture that we colored. That's it. Or like for our words ceremony, that's it. No trophies, no like, she was the best person in school or all blah, and that's okay. That's not what it means to get all those trophies. The most important thing is that you live a good Christian, godly life and you do what right. Okay? Well, Solomon traded his God-given wisdom for a series of unwise choices. Marriage to one person is a lifelong loving commitment. Why did Solomon choose to have so many wives and concubines? Because he was a selfish person, in my opinion. You couldn't be satisfied with just one. He had had multiple, hundreds even. Well, the woman represented a broad base of affiliations, expanding Solomon's connections with others. Solomon was a human, not a robot. He was just like us in that he made choices. The fact that Solomon made wrong choices did not mean that God approved. Does God approve with the wrong choices we make? Probably not. But if we make the right choices, God will approve. Because he was a king, Solomon could do whatever he pleased, and he did just that. Hence, the 300 wives and concubines and princesses and all of that stuff. Well, regardless of why Solomon made his choice, it was unwise and very costly. So if you have a husband, go to him and ask him how much it costs him to buy you presents. Okay? So we celebrate Mother's Day and all these big events like the night before if it's on a Sunday. And so we did gifts last night. Joe does very good. the kids do very good, okay? So I open up the bag from the kids, okay? Stephen got me a pickleball thing so we could go play pickleball together on a mommy and son date day, which I've never played, so this will be very interesting. I barely play tennis, let alone ever playing pickleball. So, you know, that'll be a riot. Then Eli got me these bracelets, and then Glorianne got me some pineapple perfume. Yes. And so she was super excited because at Christmas time she got me a cherry perfume, and it actually is a cherry. The perfume bottle is a cherry, and the pineapple one is the shape of a pineapple. Yeah, you got it. And so she begged me. She goes, "Mommy, can you wear my perfume tomorrow?" "Yes, honey, I'll wear your perfume tomorrow." It's one of those ones that you get that you can smell it right when you put it on, and after a while you can't smell it anymore. That's okay. I love it because it's meaningful, because she knows I love perfume. I mean, you should, never mind. Anyway, and then I open up Joe's bag. He got me a piano book, which is way, Susan, above my piano ability. I sight read some of the first pages, and he goes, "That's pretty good for sight reading." I was like, "Well, I try. That's probably one of the easier songs in the book." But anyway, so he got me that. He got me a pool floating thing. And then I'm like, "Oh, okay, it's done." Nope, there was one more thing in there. Yeah, a toy car, Matchbox car. He got me a ring, which is the one on my finger. And he goes, "So I got that," and I pushed it a little over the budget. I'm like, "Why am I not surprised, Joe?" Thank you. I love it. If you want to see it, you could come, I'll show you later. But I was just like, we have a limit. And the funny thing is I try not to be competitive. But if you know me, I'm competitive. Like Patty Comstock, she knows me pretty well because I grew up with their sons up in Saginaw, and we played sports and all that stuff. But anyway, so she knows I'm competitive, and she was like, "It's not a competition to see who wins on how." I'm like, "Yeah, but you seem to actually do more of that kind of stuff because you're better at finding deals than I am, because you look on Amazon and this other thing called Woot." I don't know if any of you have heard of it. Woot is like another Amazon thing, but it's like discounted Amazon stuff, if that even makes sense. Like if you go to the dollar deals over there at the mall, it's kind of similar to that. So, but it's an online shopping thing. Anyway, I was like, okay. Oh, I remember what the other one was. It's the shoes I'm wearing. They're a newer Birkenstock type. They're Birkenstocks, but they're like the newer, anyway. So I'm like, "Oh my word, these are so fun." He goes, "Kyla, I was hoping they would come in before Sunday." I was like, "Okay." I'm like, "It's not here yet. I need it to be here." He goes, "I have other gifts." I mean, he has gifts like 2 years down the road, at least. And I have a spot in the office, ladies, that I'm like, I need to replenish. But he does more of this kind of stuff than I do. I'm like, "Oh." Yeah, he did that at Christmas. He did that. But just ask your husband someday, if you have one, and just be like, "Okay, so how much do you actually spend on me for the year?" Don't really do that. I'm just kidding, because we shouldn't know how much they spend on us. But to have that many wives, that's got to cost a large fortune. Okay? You might as well just sell your house and then divvy up all the money. Even then, that probably wouldn't be enough. I know, but, you can only, yes, he is rich, but at the same time, he had a kingdom to rule as well. But anyway, I keep getting sidetracked. So your next point, well, let me read these verses to you. Proverbs 13:20 says, "He that walketh with wise men shall be wise, but a companion of fools shall be destroyed." Just like birds of a feather flock together, if we hang around with the wrong crowd, we will become them. But if we hang around those that are walking with Christ, reading their Bible, doing everything as right as they can be, then guess what? We will be more like those people. That's what God wants us to be more like. And Proverbs 15:7 says, the lips of the wise disperse knowledge, but the heart of the foolish doeth not so. How many of you know foolish people, and they try giving you advice, and you're like, okay, I'll think on that. And then you go to talk to somebody like a Pastor Joe or a pastor or maybe a Pearl or somebody like that. And you're sitting there and you're like, okay, I have a question for you. This person told me this. How should I have responded to their wise counsel? Well, just the way you did. I'll think about it. Or I'll ponder that. I'll see what I can do. Okay, and then you go to somebody that you know will give you the right type of counsel that you need, and then you pray about it. Because you know, there's people out there, that in their mind, it's good counsel, right? You've had people, I'm sure, come up to you and say that. You know, but in their opinion, in their own thoughts, it's good wisdom. But you know what? The wisdom that we need is from above. And, you know, we can't, or we shouldn't get the advice from the world, because the world's not going to help us. Just like if you're getting medical help and you have questions, look on those Mayo Clinic, Cleveland Clinic, or Johns Hopkins. Don't look on any other website like WebMD. Don't do that, okay? All right, your next point is the person, oh, wait. I think I went too far. Oh, okay, here we go. Wise people are not exempt from negative influences. Wise people are not exempt from negative influences. Knowing and doing are two different things. The Bible tells us that it is sin to know what is right while actively choosing to do wrong. What would entice a wise person to go in the wrong direction? Influences. How many of you, maybe when you were younger or you have kids and they have friends there that say, hey, it's okay, come on, nobody will know. Oh, yes, people will know. But the most important thing who would know first is God. God knows and sees everything. It's that peer pressure that those teens have. And sometimes us adults get that peer pressure. We get the wrong influences in our life that say, hey, Laura, it's okay to do that. It's okay to eat that second slice of chocolate cake. No, it's not. I did the other day, and I felt sick to my stomach because I knew I shouldn't have eaten one piece, let alone two. So, yeah, for the rest of the night, I did not feel very well. So there are consequences for the wrong choices that we make. People can influence us for good or for evil. Passion is an overwhelmingly strong emotion, leading many people to commit sins in a moment that they could never be considered in a controlled environment. We need to be careful about our inner circle of influence and be selective about influences in our life. The person who has your ear has access to your heart. Powerful. It's true. And I know I already said this, but then I'll close with this. People can influence us for good or for evil. Okay? I'm going to go ahead and have Dee come forward. I'll have her pray. And then you ladies will have about probably 2 or 3 minutes, if that, before the kids come and start practicing. So I would say as soon as we're done praying, actually, let me switch this up. I'll just have the table leaders pray with the group, and then you guys will do your discussions right at the table, because we still have to take these down and put them back behind where Judy's sitting, back up against the sound booth. So, because I put him in the wrong spot last week. But I'll have you ladies close at your tables, and then we'll let you ladies do your discussion groups. All right?
All these pens back?
Yes, just put them at the end of the table and we'll get them back.